Hi, my name is Richard Mullholand. I'm a member from EO Cape Town, and welcome to my EO Nano Learning series on how to sell online using Story. Now, I know what you're saying right now, like nobody needs to be stuck in another Zoom call, get involved in Zoom meetings. If we want to go back to meetings in person, we want to engage with people that way. Well, maybe we do and maybe we don't. By the end of this short nano learning series, what I hope to do is not only convince you that selling online is a feature, not a bug, but rather let you see it as an opportunity and not a threat, and give you tools that you'll be able to use to have an unfair advantage when you and your team are presenting to customers this way. So let's start with getting you on the right track here and the same level of thinking as I am when it comes to this. I read a recent study by McKinsey and Company, and they said this. They did a lot of research and they found that 70 to 80% of B2B decision makers prefer remote human interactions, online, or digital self-service. When I went through and had a look at it, they're basically saying that 52% less calls were happening in person, and of course the lockdown had a factor there. They also said that people, different percentages of people, up to 15% of people would be willing to do $1 million worth of work remotely, but basically for the most part, most customers were willing to do from 50K and up across the board there as well. So this has mean a meaningful change in the way that we're doing things and a meaningful change in the way that we do work. So where does this leave us then, and how do we know where we want to go? Well, I think that something that has changed, and a big thing has changed. Now, one of the speakers that I saw that EO brought to us last year was Prof G. And he said that if you want to be successful in his book, Algebra of Happiness, you need to get certified and move to a city. Well, I think he was right, but I don't think he's as right as he was there, as he was at that time. Why? Because the geographical anchor has been lifted. This is where we sell now. This is where we operate. It's crazy. I'm standing down here in Cape Town. I'm basically doing a talk for an organization in Washington and being watched by members, by you, sitting all over the world, wherever you are right now. What a time to be alive. Last year we wanted to take advantage of it. We previously worked in the in-person event space, doing a lot of, presentation work for big companies. But for the most part, our client base was largely limited to South Africa because that's where the events were we were working on. But by the end of last year, we'd worked with customers in all of these places, worked with speakers around the world. Why? Because we could. Because it's easy for us to do business anywhere. The local has moved. And this is a massive opportunity for us and for you to go and start engaging in the world in a different way. And before you say, well, I do not necessarily want to go outside the area I work, just remember that companies like ours, we're coming in. So it's either a defensive move or an offensive strike. Whether you want to stay parochial and local may not be a choice in a while, because your local customers may want to buy from suppliers around the world. So for us, we've decided to go on the offensive. So far, we're up to about 30% of our revenue happening outside of South Africa. And that's simply because we embraced the tools that I'm going to be sharing with you in this series to try and elevate our game for selling online. And most importantly, we understand the value of selling our customers a story in which we are able to help them. And this is a fundamental that I need to land for you right now in this series. We speak a lot about storytelling. And I think the problem with storytelling, and just by way of reference, I own a presentation company and I'm a public speaker myself. The problem with storytelling is that we are telling people our story. The problem is most people don't care about your story. When you go to sell to them, what they care about is their own story, and we're going to be chatting a bit about that. Your job is not to tell them a story, is to sell them a new story in which you play a part. And we're going to lean in on that a lot throughout this series. So what are we going to be covering? Well, we're going to go through several modules. The first one I want to talk about is story selling. There are 4 parts to story selling. There's a weapon, a hero, a dragon, and an action. And we want to take you through each one of those so you understand the fundamentals of selling the story. And I hope to, at the end of this, give you a bit of an elevator pitch that you'll be able to take and go and use to introduce your business to other people and run with your sales teams. The next thing we want to do once we have that landed is we want to take you through the 30-minute sales meeting. One of the great things for me is that sales meetings have become shorter. And now that they're shorter, that means we're able to get more done, but it also means that we have several constraints. And I want to give you an agenda for working through that to make it nice and easy for you to figure out. Number 3, if the meeting is shorter, well, then your sales pitch presentation needs to be shorter too. Gone are the days of the 45-minute presentation, and I want to change your mindset around that altogether and let you understand that now you need to be doing a 10-minute to win it pitch presentation for your business. More importantly, I want to give you the very structure you're going to follow and some tools that you can utilize in order to make sure that pitch is on point. And then once we have that, because we're presenting online, I want to give you some of the tools of the trade. What tools have I been using, to do all kinds of things like this, and this, as well as how I'm bringing my slides in and tools like this, just so that when your sales team shows up in the meeting, they look really great. And finally, I'm going to wrap it all up to you with a bit of a conclusion, but also want to share with you some other tips and tricks that will really help you get this over the line. So if this sounds compelling, I want you to stay with me for a little while. We're going to pack in the information, and I want this to be highly practical for you and something that you can really engage with and take back and watch with your teams and change the way that all of you sell using story online. So I'm looking forward to it. I hope you are too. Get your pen and paper. And remember, the most important thing and all of these EO Nano learning series is that it's not about taking notes, it's about taking actions. So I want you to write down not little notes like this, but little check boxes of actions you want to take. And if we can get that mindset and we can agree that for every one of these little videos, you're going to take just one action, then this will be time very well spent. I look forward to it, and we'll see you in the next one.